I want to play this video from Fox Business. This video from Fox Business is of Stuart Varney, and he's having a conversation about minimum wage with waiters and servers in general, waitresses and servers. And this is what he said about if they raise the minimum wage for servers.
The people who are the recipients of this increase don't like it because they all feel that their job security has now been tampered with.
Yeah. Do tips go down?
No, because it doesn't affect tips. It's all on the employer, the $15.
Yeah, but if I walk into a restaurant and I know that the waiter or waitress is making $15 an hour, way more than they used to make the previous year, and I'm going to think, wait a minute, are you going to give me, am I going to give you 20%, 15%, or 10% or whatever?
Stuart, we haven't seen that as of yet. Okay. It's an interesting observation in it.
That's not an interesting observation. That is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. So Stuart Varney, who's a millionaire, right? He's a millionaire hired by billionaires to convince poor people and middle class people that they should not think about their best economic interests. Let's be sure about what the structure of Fox News actually is and what they do in media, right? So Stuart Varney, this millionaire, he's sitting here and he's looking at America, and he's looking at this guy, this expert, and he's saying that if he finds out that workers, if he walks into a restaurant and he finds out that that worker has gotten a raise to $15 an hour, he's no longer going to tip. Now, before I go too far against him, let's think about what happens with tips in the first place. And weirdly enough, I may end up on the same side of Stuart Varney, but for the exact opposite reason, right? Tips are nothing more than a way to extract more wealth from the rest of us so that the owner of the restaurant doesn't have to pay their workers. Let's be sure about that. Because tipping, you're tipping waiters who are making $2 an hour, $3 an hour. And this has been something that the restaurant industry and the restaurant lobbyists have been virulent about. They've defended this. They've created this entire system where the expectation in society is not that the company has to pay the server, but that the people have to pay more than their food, the price that they pay for their food and their drinks. They have to pay above and beyond that in order to give this worker a livable wage. So tipping, in the sense of how it's structured within our capitalist system, is a scam. It is just shifting the burden of having it. It's like if I won't give you that example. I'll keep that example for myself. But it's shifting the responsibility from the owner of the company, the owner of the company who's making billions of dollars, right? The entity itself, the corporation, is shifting the responsibility from TGI Fridays from having to pay livable wages to their employees. All they have to do is enjoy their profits. It's shifting that responsibility from the corporation to the average person that comes and eats in their restaurant. So I would always advocate for giving them livable wages, boom, be done. Because it's just another scam. It's just another scam of taking more money from the rest of us. Until such point, I will always continue to tip. Stuart Varney, on the other hand, is saying, look at these people. They're making too much money. $15 an hour is far too much money for these entry-level positions. They don't need that, so I'm not going to tip them. The motivation behind what he's saying is another form of class warfare. More specifically, he's trying desperately to find a way to keep the minimum wage from being raised. And so he's using tips as a way of taking them hostage and saying, if you raise tips, then maybe if you raise wages, then maybe people won't tip. How about we raise wages so people don't have to tip, so you don't have to take more money from working class and middle class Americans, and so that the responsibility of giving an employee a livable wage belongs where it should belong, which is with the CEO and the corporation that runs that company and profits off that company. But the motivation behind Stuart Varney's little spiel is really trying to keep people in their places, trying to keep workers who he feels are beneath him in their places, because you do not deserve to make $15 an hour. And if you make $15 an hour, then you don't deserve your tip. I guarantee you, if we raise minimum wage workers or servers, if we raise their wages to $15 an hour, most people will continue to tip just out of custom. But that's not the point here, not for Stuart Varney. The point for Stuart Varney is to say, how can we keep this move from going from $2 an hour to an actual livable wage? How do we do that? Let's throw something else in the water and say, oh, you're going to lose your tips. But I'm almost certain the majority of servers around the country would love to get an increase on average than to get a sporadic great tip every now and then. So if you ask the people, this is a threat. This is an empty threat. If you ask servers, they will laugh at this. He shouldn't ask servers. Stuart Varney shouldn't ask servers, first of all, because if he goes in public after many people see this video, I don't know that he actually should go and eat in public again, because servers have a way. They have their way of getting back at shitty people like Stuart Varney. But if you ask servers, I'm pretty sure they would say, fair deal. Let's go. Keep your tips and give me $15 an hour so I can live. And you know what? We as the people should say the same thing. Let us keep our tips, because we should not have to pay for something that capitalists should be paying for. You're making a profit off these people. Give them enough money to live. Absolutely. Give them enough money to live. A person that works 40 hours a week should be able to live.